Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you had a decent weekend. I just had the general weekend. I'm just tired all the time, so nothing's really real exciting at this point anymore. But got a couple of things I want to cover before we get into the normal news, if you will. First off, most important, prayers. There is a gentleman I know that I had met several years ago out at the airfield. He was a bass player for a band that performed out at the airfield for an event. And his daughter, Peyton, was in a really nasty car accident. I believe it was 2 or 3 days ago. Forgive me if I got the day wrong, but not in super good shape. She is communicating, so that is good. But there is considerable amount of damage. She's, it's all fresh right now, so anything goes. But right now, she doesn't have a whole lot of memory. There is, issues of blood clotting, including on the brain. Broken pelvis, I believe broken ribs. Again, not in good shape, but it could be much, much, much worse. So, if you don't mind, please say some prayers for Peyton and Brandon and the rest of the family. Good people, and from what I understand, she was an outstanding young lady. So, let's see. Trying to think. Oh, the other thing. We normally don't cover celebrities or anything like that, or celebrity deaths on the Watchman News, for good reason. Because they really don't. We don't need to idolize those type of people, and I'm not going to. Therefore, I'm not going to here as well. However, there was a, oops, hang on. There was a celebrity, if you will, that had passed away, I believe 2 days ago. And I'm sure that we've mentioned her on the show before. No doubt we've mentioned her on the show. And it's someone that we've kind of, I guess, followed a bit over the past, I don't know, couple years, I guess. Probably longer than that, huh? I can't remember. It's been a while. Anyway, Eclipse, for those that many of you probably don't have any idea who this is. But Eclipse, the Seattle dog who rides the bus by herself, she had passed away. Real recently, her Facebook page had mentioned that she had developed cancerous tumors, and that was only like maybe a week before they made the announcement that she had passed. But yeah, pretty awesome. I will read the article real quick because it's not very long, and I believe it's well deserved. Eclipse, the Seattle dog who took a bus by herself to go to the park, has died, according to her official Facebook page. According to MyModernNet.com, Eclipse started riding the bus in 2015, where she took the bus downtown to the dog park, making friends and getting exercise before taking the bus back home. Eclipse would even have her own bus patch attached to her collar. According to her owner, Eclipse's human companion, Jeff Young, once took too long finishing a cigarette, and Eclipse hopped on the bus without him, a routine she learned from her usual outings. Young said Eclipse would ride the 3 to 4 stops on the D line on her own and always knew where to get off. According to BoardPanda.com, Seattle police said Eclipse should ideally be on a leash. However, King County allows dogs on public transport at the driver's discretion. which, if I recall correctly, was one of the big reasons for that bus pass, was to kind of skirt the leash law. So I do appreciate the city of Seattle working with them, because this is just remarkable. But it goes on to say, according to Eclipse's Facebook page, Eclipse was recently diagnosed with cancer and passed away in her sleep on Friday morning. So, like I say, just incredible dog. So, she was part Black Lab, as you surely know, and Mastiff. So, she did have Mastiff in her as well. So, incredible dog. This was what King County Metro, the bus company, wrote. Just incredible. So, anyway. It's incredible the impact that dog had. There was people from all over the world, not necessarily specifically going to Seattle to ride the bus with the dog, but if they were going there or they were in the area, there was people from all over the world that would make it a point to be on the bus when she would ride it. So it's just cool. It's just really, really cool. Let's see. Anything else? I don't have any tabs open tonight. I've been up and down today as far as energy levels and stuff. It's been kind of really wacky today. So I don't have any tabs open. I really didn't even know what to go with. That's one of the harder things on Sundays to do. Believe it or not. And the reason I say that is because Sundays oftentimes are pretty dull as far as news. And so I hate to go back and start picking articles from Friday and Saturday because that's not as recent. And anyway, so it makes it kind of hard sometimes on Sundays to have good articles up to go over. Because a lot of times there just isn't a lot of really good information that comes out. Sometimes there's information that comes out that they want to slip under the radar, but oh man. Trying to think if there's anything else. Not that I can think of. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about basically what I titled the show. I don't know if this is just me. I mean, it could be. And I try to be as self-aware as possible. You know, I got a lot going on, and so it could just be me. It could be a personal thing. But, man, I sure feel like there's something much bigger than that. That we are just right on the edge of. And I don't know. It's a very uneasy feeling. So, and again, I don't know if I'm picking up on something personally or if I'm picking up on something larger. I mean, I know I'm not the only one that's feeling this, but man, I don't know. I don't know what to think. Even on the more immediate kind of stuff. Like, for instance, and I've brought this up before, every month, as it's coming up time to get our power bill, my butt starts to get a bit tight. Because I know what's going on in the rest of the state and in many of the states in the country with energy bills, and they're going through the roof. I know several people here in Illinois that have commented that their bills have doubled and more. Several people. And we fortunately have not had to deal with that. And in fact, the last bill we got, Jen and I were both just shocked because it was actually cheaper than what we expected. And I mean, by a bit of a fair amount, it was cheaper than what we expected. And that was for the norm. So that's a good thing. But I worry every month because, again, our power is a little bit different. Our town, the city, they buy it in bulk from Ameren and then resell it to us. Well, when they buy it in bulk, if it works the same way that it was explained to me years ago, they buy it at a bulk rate, a chunk of it, right, of energy, and then they resell it to the citizens of the town, and usually at a better rate than what you would get from directly from Ameren. And so my fear is that we're on this contract currently with Ameren, and I don't know when that contract comes up. And my fear is that contract's going to come up. They're going to renew the contract at a higher rate, and then we're going to be gigged hard. And the problem even with that, because see, there's a downside to that too. If the city happens to sign the contract when it's super high, then what happens if 4 months down the road after they sign a 2-year contract, the price falls through the floor and everybody else in the state of Illinois is paying peanuts for power while we're, getting reamed? So, I mean, I could see where it would go both ways. It's kind of one of those things, but, and there's just a lot of stuff that I'm keeping an eye on, but man, and I can't put my finger on it either, because I've asked myself the questions over and over and over, as many questions as I can, because I've learned a long time ago what's most important is knowing the right questions to ask. And so I sit there and I think about as many different directions as I can, and I can't say that this is necessarily an uneasy feeling over what's going on with Russia, what's going on with China, I don't know. I mean, it's almost the feeling that I get is it's something gonna be something here. I mean, like in the United States. I don't know. It's an odd feeling, and again, maybe it's just me because everything I've got going on too. But I don't know. It's just I've learned to trust my gut, and that's what I'm doing. Just be as ready as you can, folks. That's all I can say is be as ready as you can. Keeping at it. Jen and I had a discussion earlier. We're gonna. I think we're gonna make another good push or two for food. Just to kind of get that sealed up. Here's the thing. I'm not going to be able to store 2 years worth of food. We don't have the space for it. In order for me to do something like that, we would have to have like 55-gallon drums of wheat and whatnot that I kept out in the shed. Which, yeah, that's beyond feasible. But I ain't got the money for that. 55-gallon drums aren't cheap, and then you got to be able to fill them. And it's one thing if, you like drive and stuff like that. It makes getting things like that much easier. But, it is what it is. But that doesn't mean that I can't keep continually hitting the parts of the food area that we have. Namely, I'll get more black bean burger. Absolutely. But other things like we were talking today, like the powdered butter and cheese powder, right? Because think about that. You got black bean burger, you got rice, you got cheese powder, you got butter powder. Come on, you're gonna come up with something edible with that. So that's basically. I know I've got a real organized SHTF meal plan, don't I? I don't need a meal plan. We don't have a meal plan now. We haven't had a meal plan since we've been together. So, do I really think we need a meal plan for after SHTF? No. What I need is the stuff to make different things. That's what I need. I'll figure it out. I'll get the spices right. I'll work with it until I get it right. It is what it is, right? That's what cooking is. It's like an art. You just have to keep painting it a little bit different until it comes out right. I'm not a good cook, but I can make edible food. So, just what it is. But I think we're going to make another good push or two in that direction. And then I don't know what from there. We do still need to finish up winter stuff for her. We need to get her socks taken care of, her sleeping bag, poncho and Wooby blanket. And then she'll be covered for winter. And then we'll be pretty, well, I say pretty good. Don't get me wrong. I understand the monster that I'm staring into, okay? But I'm also a realist, and I'm realistic about it. And stuff gets too stupid, I ain't gonna be here. Because it when it comes to physical things, I'm useless. I'm as useless as you could imagine. When I say physical things, I mean things that involve exerting any type of strength or anything like that. I can't do it. I lose my breath. I don't know. I hate it, if you can't tell. So if something were to happen and get too stupid, I'm realistic about it. I probably ain't gonna make it anyway. So, I'm gonna do what I can, but I'm not an idiot and I'm not naive either. And I'm not gonna lie to myself. Let's see. Had another headline pop up. We'll get it put out. It's nothing important, breaking type of stuff. We'll get it there. Anyway, like I said, I don't know really what else to say. I figured we'd kind of make pretty easy night. I'd get the headlines done and get the hell out of here. Like I say, it's been energy-wise an up and down day for me. It's odd, right? I got up, I like, as in opened my eyes, right? And I got up, and I was just beat. And I thought, okay, I'll just get up, and I'll go lay on the futon for a little bit. But, knowing me, right, I couldn't do that without at least running through my email and stuff like that to make sure everything's kosher. And, anyway, I did that. By the time that, I started doing that, I don't know, I just got hit with a bunch of energy, and I'm feeling a lot better, So I got up, went and made some coffee, and I thought, well, I won't go to bed, About an hour later, it's just like getting hit by a huge tidal wave of tiredness, and it just, I don't know, it's been up and down all day, so it's the weirdest, like I say, it feels like being overcome with tiredness. It feels like a wave hitting you of tiredness. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't like it at all. And I've experienced that feeling a couple other times in my life. I don't like it. I don't like it. Especially considering the other times I've experienced it. But anywho, let me... wonder what happened there. Hang on a second. Gotta fix it. There we go. I don't know what happened to it, why it lost the screen. But it's back. Alright, let's run through the headlines, and then we'll run outside and throw our hands in the air and start screaming the end is nigh and all that. But still, don't worry about filling out the signs yet. Just make sure make sure you've got your signs built. right? You've got your sticks, you've got your dingy cardboard. Don't fill them out yet because we don't know exactly what type of end is nigh message that we need to write on there. So just make sure you get your sign ready, but don't make it yet. And, because we're going to do this. We're all going to... Sorry. Anywho, I got headlines starting from Friday. SpaceX calls on Pentagon to foot Ukraine bill, says media. And I know there's been a little back and forth on this, but to my knowledge, and I'm sure it'll be in one of the headlines, Elon Musk, he backed down and went ahead and he's paying for the crap. I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of Ukraine. I'm not necessarily a fan of Russia either. Guess what? I don't have to choose one. Belarus on high terrorist alert. Beijing fumes over latest foreign visit to Taiwan. Again, these are Friday's headlines. So, juvenile gunman kills 5 on forest trail. Man. Let's see. German inflation hits post-reunification high. Industry stalls amid energy crisis, says Bank of France. UK Defense Secretary rebukes Macron over nuclear comments. South Korea sanctions Pyongyang. UN reports progress of Zaporozhye nuclear plant talks. Russia reacts to Azov neo-Nazis platform at prestigious U.S. university. France starts exporting gas to Germany. French accusations twist reality, says Putin. Russia warns it may quit Black Sea grain deal. Musk under federal investigation, says Twitter's attorneys. Day none, I don't know, to transfer control of business in Russia. Musk explains withdrawal of free Starlink service for Ukraine. And he's kind of turn around and give in. Pelosi was ready to punch Trump in a, says a video. Hey, all that's nuts. All that's nuts. And I think anybody that plays the game is nuts too. Anybody that is willing to demean and just automatically hate another person for a political party, guess what? You need help. You need help. These people, I may not know, I may not have my finger on or my thumb down on whether or not Russia and China and the United States and all these countries are all working together just to make it look like there's a bunch of big problems that somebody's going to have to save the day on. I can't, but I always tell you, you need to keep that possibility open, right? For damn good reason. I can tell you the corruption in our government, abso-frickin-lutely, and I can tell you that these idiots are behind closed doors, partying it up, dealing it up with each other. It's insane. It's insane. And then turn around and it's showtime, right? When they stand up at that podium, it's showtime. And you've got nothing but political grandstanding and false promises and nothing but a bunch of bullshit. And they've got 2 very large groups of people that at this point in time aren't too far ready from going into combat with one another. And I'm not really joking when I say that. And it's a setup. It's a setup. You know how you really, really piss off one group of people to the point that they'll get violent? Injustice. injustice. When you accuse and punish people for things that they had nothing to do with, while letting other people get away with whatever they want, that's how you start a civil war. These politicians in these United States are working together to create that environment for you and I. We have to have a damn clue in our heads to be smarter than that. That's why I have such an attitude against people like Pinball Preparedness and his bullshit conservative ignorance. Because it's stupid. It's actually on a level of childishness when you look at it. How many people will be there in November? Stop. Is that going to do anything? No. When are we going to get this notion out of our head that we can sit on our asses on our couches at home and watch TV shows and go cast a vote every 2 to 4 years, pay our taxes, and that's all we got to do? That's our responsibility. Man, that attitude has reached a very disgusting level in the United States. It has reached the level to where children no longer care. And I know if everybody's situation is different. I don't get along with my family. I don't speak to my mother. Different situation. But hopefully most families do. And hopefully most families do get along and there is a bond there. But in the last 20 to 30 years, the fabric of the family in this nation has been just torn to shreds. That's why I say, everybody wants to go to the ballot box to make a better country, make America great again. You don't make America great again at the ballot box. You make America great again in your home. If you don't start there, why in the hell are you delegating that job to somebody else? The most important job. And you just delegate it to somebody. Oh, he'll take care of it. All I had to go would fill out my registration form, show up once every 2 or 4 years. No sweat. Did my job. I'll take that sticker and slap it on my chest, and I did something today. Yeah, that's what you did. Right there. That's all you did. And the rest of us that know better have it all over us. Thank you. It gets frustrating. I love the founding documents that this nation was built with, because there were very smart men that went through very hard times that understood that. Today, we've got a bunch of pampered people that wouldn't know a hard time if it smacked them upside their head, willing to give away every ounce of their safety and security and everything else just so they can go once every 2 and 4 years and cast a ballot. They're willing to throw everything else down a shitter. I'm sorry, it fires me up. It fires me up. There is no good answer. I can't even tell you the answer. Why? Clearly, I would face repercussions. Now, how screwed up is that in the United States of America that I cannot tell you the answer to this dilemma? Without facing the wrath. That is all the indicator you need for what time it is. Not time to register to vote. Sorry. Continuing on. Erdogan backs Putin's idea of gas hub. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez heckled for voting to start nuclear war. J.P. Morgan Chase CEO warns of major drop in U.S. stock market. Tucker Carlson tells Zelensky to go away after aid demands. Putin explains why there are no peace talks with Ukraine. Ukrainian MPs expected to visit Taipei, says Taiwanese lawmaker. EU countries withdraw from joint probe into Nord Stream, says media. Key Russian ally comments on Putin's nuclear plans. Putin reveals threat to Istanbul grain deal. EU's top court rules on hijab ban. I never can say that. And still on Friday's news. A Van Gogh masterpiece attacked with soup. I'm going to be honest. When I read that headline, that pissed me off. It really did. It really, truly did. Hey, I'm not an artsy-fartsy kind of person. I'm not into art. Not even remotely. But I don't have to be. And there are many things on this world that need to be respected. And, I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That is not civil disobedience. That is vandalism. Plain and simple. And I think there needs to be, and I'm the last person to say there needs to be more laws, but there needs to be a level of vandalism that you can be charged with. That is a very serious level of vandalism. And I think stuff like this, I think defacing statues and monuments and artwork and stuff like that, yeah, I think that it should really be dealt with a hefty hand. Because you know what? That's not theirs. Plain and simple. That's not theirs to destroy. And I know some people would argue, oh, well, I'm a citizen, so that means that statue is part mine too, because I'm a citizen, I paid... Yeah. You're not the only one that paid taxes that put that statue there. Or whatever. Not the only one. So, it's not all yours. Let's see. EU unable to compensate members for aiding Ukraine, says Politico. Russia comments on world's energy future. NATO member introduces jail terms for disinformation. Truss fires finance minister in U-turn. Lukashenko reveals plans for Russian Belarusian allied forces. No more need for massive strikes on Ukraine, says Putin. U.S. should abandon outdated Cold War mentality, says China. Ukrainian shelling hits Russian power plant. Russia to crank up drone production, says Medvedev. Non-binary students up 582% in Maryland school district. Starts at home, folks. Starts at home. Notorious Ukrainian envoy leaves Germany. Putin warns NATO against global catastrophe. Sweden explains rejection of joint Nord Stream probe. Biden authorizes more weapons for Ukraine. Nord Stream attackers plunged EU into energy poverty, says top minister. EU opens probe into vaccine deals. Oh, we just started on yesterday's news. So that, means drink a coffee. And I'm not particularly in a hurry or anything. Apparently I had more to say than I thought I did, but you know me. Alright, let's see. Hang on. Better check that. Couple of things going on here. Okay, I had to double check my screens to make sure. I need to check real quick a post in. Oh, okay. In our town group, I watch that very closely and deal with things very quickly. So, let's see. And had to, real quick, let somebody know that I recognized their reply for the beta testing stuff. That's why I had to make sure that my screen was all good, that you guys couldn't see nothing that you couldn't see. So anyway, moving on. Again, we are on yesterday's headlines. West prepping nuclear crisis plans, says UK media. Merkel defends very rational Russian gas deals. Inflation leading to horrifying food insecurity, says the IMF. European auto industry in trouble, says S&P. White House comments on paying for Starlink service for Ukraine. Dozens of miners killed in deadly explosion. Moscow comments on nuclear tech transfer to its key ally. A declassified paper shows Berlin's position on Nord Stream 2, says media. Russia trying to kill Starlink, says Musk. New York congressional hopeful posts his own sex tape. Why not just save time, EU country seeks to change Nazism law. Yeah, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. Sweden unveils right-wing government. That's just insane, though. Russia's major classifieds business sold for $2.4 billion. That's billion with a B. Russian troops arrive in Belarus. Paper shortage affecting corruption investigators, says top official. Really? A paper shortage? Preventing you from investigating corruption, huh? Okay. Pop star dropped from GQ Awards after vaccine tweets. How dare you? U.S. senators propose punishment for major ally. Oil depot customs office shelled in Russia, says governor. Central Bank of G20 host rails against U.S. dollar, says media. Conservative MPs look for ways to oust Truss, says Politico. German terror granny busted over Kaiser plot. Independent report shows unsafe levels of lead inside North County School. That would be St. Louis area, but there was more to this. It wasn't just lead, right? The headline was changed from what initially it came up as Here it says, according to an independent report, a report separate from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers report, an unsafe level of radioactive waste is present inside a North St. Louis County elementary school. Elementary school, right? The Hazelwood School District allowed new independent testing of hazardous material inside and directly outside the school stemming from radioactive runoff from when the World War II bombs were built in the area. The runoff affected areas along Coldwater Creek, where Jana Elementary is located. The 2022 independent report came after the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers testing report, which began in 2018. The Corps of Engineers is a federal group tasked with testing and ensuring safe materials and areas. According to the school district, the Corps of Engineers testing showed safe levels of materials present near the school. The new 2022 independent report calls the Army Corps testing incomplete and inadequate because the samples weren't collected from inside the school buildings or the soil immediately surrounding the school buildings. Now get that, right? You want to talk about some nonsense. Says here, my level of concern is almost at a peak level. It's everything we thought and were concerned could be true, said Ashley Bernal, a Hazelwood parent. The Army Corps of Engineers absolutely found some of this same material. They found thorium, radium, and uranium. We asked the Army Corps of Engineers to go inside our school building, to go on the school playground, and they refused. They refused. The new independent report goes on to say it's not possible to assess the risk to students and employees of Jana Elementary because the Army Corps' testing was limited to outside of the buildings. We hope they will take these results very seriously. We don't necessarily need further confirmation from the Army Corps of Engineers at this point, Bernal added. We need the Army Corps of Engineers to come clean up the mess. This is an elementary school with unsafe radioactive levels. It's mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. The people that have been responsible for all this stuff going on are the people that other people are going and voting for every 2 and 4 years. It's time to stop. TV channel explains purchase of Hitler's paintings for new show. Nazi-era wonder weapon comparison gets top German official in trouble. Pro-Ukrainian NAFO troll chief outed as a Nazi. Biden makes creepy comments to underage girl, and that was creepy. Okay, we gotta go there. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Meant to do that. Yeah. This is just messed up. It's messed up.
Look at Dan.
Now, the very important thing I told my daughter and granddaughters, no serious guys till you're 30.
Okay. No what?
No serious guys till you're 30.
I'll keep that in mind. At least.
You see, did you happen to see the guy in the background, the Secret Service dude? Look at that. Look at that. See him? Told the dude with the camera, no, shut it off, now. See, everybody still wants to play because they're willing to go vote every 2 or 4 years. We got this as the leader of our country. And I guess people are okay enough with it. Let it go on. Vote again. It'd be alright. Scholes eyes fundamental change to EU. Spain illegally removed border storming migrants, says report. Bulgarian vice president opposes plan for Zelensky to address parliament. Address? address, something. Potato, potato. 11 dead in terrorist act at Russian training range, says Ministry of Defense. Let's see. Still on yesterday's news. Iranian prison burns amid protests. Tower block catches fire in Istanbul. Musk makes U-turn on Starlink service for Ukraine. Told you. EU state leader warns of protracted war. Russia deploys new military satellite. Indian nuclear sub-test fires missile. Oh, we are on today's news. That was the beginning of it. So that means drink a coffee. Couple of vapes. I just really do need a nicotine IV. Just make it a lot easier. Give me a nicotine IV in one arm, a caffeine IV in the other arm. Alright, I might be ready. Elon Musk discovers Ukrainian kill list. Yeah, was it in your desk drawer or something? I mean, China's Xi makes Taiwan pledge. Strong U.S. dollar is a headache, says the IMF. You know, any sovereign nation's currency being strong is a headache to the IMF. Why? Because the IMF wants power and control. And if independent banks, right, independent countries' banks have money, that means there's a good chance that that country's people have money. And if that people's country has money and that country has money, the IMF ain't got nobody to loan their money to. Cremation in France now less affordable, says media. Would be because of the gas prices, undoubtedly. China and NATO spar over Ukraine conflict, says Bloomberg. Top Russian military blogger volunteers for front line. Xi vows to elevate Chinese military to world-class standards. Ghislaine Maxwell calls Prince Andrew dear friend. What about that client list again? Huh? Oh, sealed. Yeah. You mean, out of all those people in Congress, and all the people in the administration, and all the people in all the agencies, and we got to include the Marines because they're responsible for locking somebody's ass up for not doing their job. Now, imagine that. We can't get a client list. Go vote. Vote's coming soon. Fix it. Europe being hit by energy shock it has never seen, says an analyst. U.S. furious over Palestinian leader's comments to Putin, says Axios. Xi makes statement on Hong Kong. Musk and Kim.com talk nuclear war. Nuclear. I think I normally say it right, but once in a while I... Nuclear. Oh no. African country orders partial lockdown. Taiwan responds to Xi's speech. I think it was something like "Akafayo," something like that. I think. Ukraine strikes Donetsk city administration, says mayor. You know I'm not right. I mean, I hope you don't come here and expect somebody that's right. Top Wall Street banker makes recession prediction. Gazprom outlines consequences for price cap on Russian gas. U.S. inks security deal with NATO applicant. Teacher sues school over harmful transgender policies, says Sunday Times. Iran issues warning to Biden. Tell him not to sniff any little girl's hair, probably. Biden brands UK economic plan a mistake. That's about the most harmful that guy could be. I mean, Japan sees record surge in corporate bankruptcies, says media. EU blackmails Serbia, says Interior Minister. Hang on. Oh, yeah, I'll be switching flavors tomorrow. I like my strawberry milk flavor, but it's not my favorite. It used to be my favorite, but it's not my favorite. And by the time I'm done with like 60 milliliters of it, I am like very happy to be going to a different flavor. So. Let's see. Ukraine decided. Ukraine decided. I can't say that for nothing. Ukraine decided to join EU 1,000 years before its founding, says Kiev. Oh, sure. Leader of Bavaria demands protective shield over Germany. I wonder if that was like. You know what? I bet that was the alternative timeline that Biden was talking about when he. Lost a son over in Iraq. That's what it was. Let's see. Trump explains why he could easily be Israeli PM. A country scraps funding for imperialistic Shakespeare festival. France told to pay damages to ex-Femin activist. Thousands march against economic misery in Paris. Kremlin speaks on NATO's de facto role in the Ukraine. Americans should know if U.S. pressured the Middle East allies, says Congressman. Scientists suggest when cancer jab may be available. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know they can do it. They've been able to do it for a really long time. I'm just not convinced they're ready to do it. Scottish trans policy puts women in danger, says J.K. Rowling. I mean, after everything we went through the last couple of years and all that, or we really, I mean, I get some people will just, yeah, I trust you, but the majority of it's not so much. I'm talking about the cancer jab. And believe me, I'm somebody that all for actually doing something about that disease, but come on. Much of a moneymaker as that is for them, they ain't gonna give that up. Not for us, you know. Isn't it amazing? You ever notice that a lot of times these, real popular politicians, entertainers, stuff like that. Do you notice the rate at how much better they do when it comes to things like that than average folks like you and I? Wonder. Let's see. Kiev puts large bounty on top Russian military blogger. Oh, I missed this one. Energy crisis will breed extremism, says Bavarian president. I had to sound it out. Sorry. I was hooked on phonics, yo. Let's see. Russia responds to UN officials' rape claims. Israel urged to pick side in Ukraine conflict. Losing is not an option for Putin, says ex-Austrian leader. German minister defends Ukrainian refugees' privileges. EU nations Facebook likens sanctions to bomb. British MPs demand Liz Truss resign, or Liz Truss. I added a T. Let's see. German hospitals face bankruptcy. That is the story, or at least part of it. Huh. Well, damn. I've rolled through those pretty quick, and it still took a while. I guess there was quite a few headlines the last few days, really. I know for Sunday, to be honest, there was, a fair amount, but it was, I don't know, nothing I really wanted to really get in deep about. Anywho, that's pretty much all I got. Can't think of anything else. Hopefully I get a little bit of energy back. Now that I know where I'm standing on the beta testing project, I can get back busy with that. There was, I can't really go into a whole lot because I don't. If I talk much about it, I'll screw up and say something I ain't supposed to say. And so, yeah. But anyway, yeah. I can proceed tomorrow, basically. So anyway, I am going to get out of here. And God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. And I appreciate everybody coming. And I hope to see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.